Welcome to episode 2 of Top 5 Tips. I'm your host, Robbin Marx, and as a former rapper turned producer slash music coach, it's my mission to support artists like you with high quality and affordable music production, with hyper focused coaching, but also to give you lots and lots and lots of free resources. So today, I'm going to talk about my top 5 tips for Voisey. So before we jump into it, let me just share a little bit about Voisey for you folks who don't know what the app is. Many of my Android users are still like, what is that about? And I know for a fact that they're working on an Android version of the app. But basically what Voisey is think TikTok for singers. So instead of just like doing videos for to create the new dance wave, like the Tootsie Slide and all of that kind of stuff, Voisey is really a platform where singers, rappers, producers can kind of just share their gifts. It's an amazing platform. And I know for people who have been following me, I've been talking about this for weeks and months. But the thing that I talked about with a couple of months ago, which was A&Rs and labels using Voisey as a platform to scout talent, is happening. Like, I know that for a fact because I've spoken to a few people around, and it's going down. People are at home in this quarantine and in this lockdown, industry people, and they're like scouting talent, and they're using Voisey as a platform to scout that talent. So for my rappers, for my singers, if you have not been on the app yet, I would download the app. If you're an Android user, I would find somebody with an iPhone, have them download it and do a few videos. You know what I'm saying? For my producers out there, it's also a great platform for us to share our work. All of your rights are protected. It's not like you're giving your beats away. It's pretty much you're just doing collaborations with people, like a blind date for collaborations. It's just an amazing opportunity for you. And I'll take it a step further. For musicians like, saxophonists, violinists, people who play different instruments, I'm seeing now that a lot of people who play instruments are coming on Voisey and actually sharing their gifts too. So I just wanted to give you a quick little overview of Voisey so you can kind of have some context for today's conversation. So let's talk about the top 5 tips for Voisey. So tip number 1, less is more. What do I mean? Some of you guys have been watching the versus battles, right? So if you don't know about versus, it's pretty much like songwriters, artists, producers are facing off against other, songwriters, artists, and producers, and like playing song for song in like a battle, like a 20-song battle. Recently, we had like the blessing to have like Babyface go head to head with Teddy Riley. And they actually had to stop their first battle because Teddy Riley was doing a lot. Some would argue that he was doing the most, too much. It's the same thing on Voisey. I wouldn't go into Voisey thinking that you need to throw the kitchen sink at your first recording or at any of your recordings. What you need to do is, as a rule of thumb, is to have less effects. A lot of people are going onto this platform and they're cranking up the auto tune all the way up. And then their voice sounds very robotic and it just kind of is a little muddled. You know what I'm saying? And many of us, and especially for my rappers and my singers out there, we might not have audio engineer ears. You know what I'm saying? That's something for me as a producer now that I'm developing and working on. But as a rapper in my rapping days, I couldn't tell the difference between highs and lows and treble and bass. I was just spitting bars. So I believe what I'm seeing now in Voisey is a lot of people are going to a set, effect or a filter for their voice, and they're leaving the settings as is. So what the tip is when I say less is more is use less effects, but also for the effects that you're using, you can go in and actually edit those effects. So you don't have to have them like blasting, or you don't have to have them set in the, in the position that they were when you use that sound. So I would say first is, don't be Teddy Riley. Don't go over the top with it. Less is more, and don't use so many effects, and edit the effects that you use. Last point on less is more. A lot of you guys on Voisey are doing the thing I talked about last week, which is the moving around, like, yeah, we up in here, like really casual. And that's fine if you really are not, interested in making a good impression. You can only make a first impression once. And it's like very important that when you put yourself out there, if you're serious about your career, that you're very intentional with what you're doing. So what I would recommend is just investing in a cheap little tripod and just set it up and do your videos. If you don't want to get one, I would just say, just stay still, man. You don't have to do all of the crazy stuff. Just take it easy. Less is more. We don't have to go too crazy. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2. Comment and connect. Tip number 2, comment and connect. Now, what does that look like, right? So you guys know that I'm all about people replying back to their comments. That's something on Instagram that I practice frequently, but I also encourage my students and my partners and all the artists that I work with to do that. You know what I'm saying? So that's like goes without saying. To take it a step further, I would say if someone likes your Voisey or someone comments on your Voisey, not only to comment and also like their content, but also like create something that's thoughtful and personalized. What's happening, it's like on Voisey, it is like the emoji capital of the world right now. It don't even have anything on Instagram or Facebook. People are throwing thumbs up for everything. People are throwing hearts, hundreds. Nobody's saying anything. It's just a lot of emojis, and I'm peeping it. So what's happening, I'm seeing that the people who actually create, excuse me. I have some of that tea. I'm noticing that people who create well-crafted, thought-out responses on comments are getting more engagement. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's really important. Like, don't be a robot. Don't copy and paste something. And even if you do copy and paste something, I would try to, inject a line or two that is personalized to the person that you're trying to create that engagement with. So comment and connect. Also, in terms of connecting, what does that look like? So on this platform, you have the opportunity to, follow people and then also collab with people. It's unlike any other platform where you can go on, see what someone recorded, and then you can kind of like connect with them. So what I would do is, in terms of connecting, is follow people that you want to do those collabs with. I would, take it a step further and like really search out the people you feel are successful or the people that you actually just like their vibe. It's not necessarily about follower counts right now on Voisey. It's more about just having engagement and also finding people who are in your lane and would most likely want to connect with you. So number 2 is comment and connect. One thing I would end with on number 2 is that when you create that genuine engagement with them, so let's say you leave a thoughtful response to one of their comments. They commented like emoji hot hot hot, and you're like, yo, thank you so much, I'm new to the platform, it's really dope, are you on Instagram? Create some kind of engagement and have some kind of call to action, where it's you're asking them a question or you're asking them to do something like, hey, can you give me your Instagram information, I'd like to connect there. And then bring them to Instagram. Or if your preferred platform is LinkedIn, or if your preferred platform is Facebook, like try to bring them to the place that you feel more comfortable and you have the majority of your content already living. So that's number 2, living. So that's number 2, comment and connect. We're going to move on to tip number 3. I talked a little bit about it earlier, but I'm going to really drive it home. So overdub and collab. This is something that you have to do. If you are a rapper, if you are a singer, this is something on Voisey that you have to do. I strongly encourage you to do it because, like most of these social media platforms, the algorithms and the tricks and the codes are not public, information. So people are trying to figure out. The people that I've spoken to, the artists who really get a lot of engagement, it's because they do these collabs and these overdubs. So just to kind of explain the functionality of it, basically you can create your own little video, and then somebody else can come on and like lay the ad-lib tracks or the overdubs on top of it. They can do some riffs, on top of it, or if you leave spaces for them, which is something that I strongly encourage, they can actually fill in the spaces for you. So it's essentially, it's like a feature, it's like being able to like connect with your favorite artists on this level, right, on this platform, and be like, yo, I really like that guy Jim, man, I want to do a track with him. Well, you know what, I actually can. So it's a really, just a magical platform in terms of collaborations and creating, new original content. One thing I want to add is that finding top, trending, and featured voices is kind of a ninja trick to get into the lane with some of the more active users. So what you want to do is, you don't want to be thirsty for like follows, right? If that's the way you do your social media, it's nothing against it. I wouldn't recommend it. What I would recommend is, again, having true engagement. So let's say it's the top user on the platform. You go to them, you follow their page, then you go and actually like a bunch of their pictures, and then you comment. And in the comments, always end with a little call to action. Hey, listen, do you mind if you could like check out one of my voices, and if you like it, maybe you can jump on it. Hey, listen, is it possible for you to send me your Instagram, because I want to like share your information there. Create that engagement that will make them want to say, you know what, let me follow this guy, and maybe or girl, and let me do a collab, let me do an overdub on top of one of their voices. Also, I want to say that you have to do the collab if you want to fully maximize the platform, because I know that's a part of the functions that will lead to you having success there. So just make sure that, don't be shy. It doesn't matter. It's not like you have to like actually tap them on their shoulder like, hey, you want to do a collab? Like, you can just do it. It's like a free for all. So I would say overdub and collab. Tip number 4, visualize your visuals. What do I mean by that? People have like their own aesthetics there. Like, people are doing things that, kind of are uniform, but are not uniformed. So I don't really preach for people to have those profiles on Instagram that are like, all matching and the colors. Like, that's fine. I know, especially like in 2017, 2018, it was a thing. You have to curate a page that has that kind of, uniformed nature and consistency. But I think today, a lot of artists, and also I would even say a lot of, content creators out there would agree that people just want you to be real. And sometimes real is being a little sloppy. Like, everybody's not perfect. All of my colors don't always match. You know what I'm saying? Nothing against anyone who has a well-curated page, but on Voisey, it is very important that those little GIFs, those little, videos that do like a replay boomerang thing are well thought out. So you have the opportunity to kind of create your own world in a way. So I would say be really thoughtful. Where most of you guys might be like in a quarantine, you might not be able to get out like that. Take some time, think about your surrounding, think about your lighting, you know what I'm saying? Think about your angles. Like, you could like record half of your face on one video and half on the other. The main thing is just make sure that you put some kind of effort into the visual presentation of your Voisey. You just can't go into it like, oh, yo, I'm spitting these balls, going on. Like, that's over. You know what I'm saying? Like, those days of not having clear intentions on what we want to present to our audience are over. And this is for my community, people that are rocking with me, following me. Some of you guys are on my text network. Some of you guys are on my LinkedIn network. Some of you guys are on my Instagram network. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys know, like, I'm not saying this trying to be like, I know what's right or wrong. I just know, that if you want to be serious about your career, you have to be thoughtful and intentional, because today it's not about getting the most people, it's about getting the right people. So that's number 4, is visualize your visuals. And then last but not least, share before you post. Now, what does that mean? Unlike Instagram or Facebook, you can actually create a post and then just kind of save it in a stash. You don't need to release it. And one of the genius things that the creators of Voisey did is gave you the ability, once you actually record a Voisey, that you can put it in the stash and then you can send it to your people without it being visible to the public, which is so powerful. And I don't think enough, singers and rappers on Voisey are doing this. I think what they're doing is they're pumping out a piece of content and they're just shooting it into the, into the Voisey sphere, and they're just letting it rock, the Voisey sphere. I like that. How about the Voisey verse? Anyway, so think about this. You take your time to figure out your setting. You visualize your visuals, right? You think about what you're going to record. You record it clean, not so much effects, but enough where it's nice, but you don't overdo it. And then you save it. You send a message to me and you like, Robbin, yo, man, I did this Voisey, man. I want to know what you think about it. You could do that, send it over, let somebody get some input on it. Now, one of the things about Voisey that I think will change is that they don't have like a direct message kind of a setup yet. So to communicate with people, you got to kind of communicate on the their actual post right now. So like me leaving a comment is the way I can communicate with you. But one thing that you can do is on the title of your Voisey, you can create those calls to action, on that little section. So how do you save the draft? Once you record the voice, you save the draft. There's a little button for save the draft, and then you want to click disable, public sharing. And once you disable that, it'll pop up to enable private sharing, and then you can share with all the people that are following you. So it's almost like the close friends feature here on Instagram. However, you have to do it manually. It's not a big deal. If you guys want results and you want to be successful, you're going to have to put in some time. None of this is easy. And anybody on this channel that's like serious about growing their career knows that we're about working hard. We're about, pushing it to the limit and just, reaching for our dreams and our goals. And one other tip in the description, always make sure you say something like, hey, jump on it. Let's do a collab if you want to. Or let me know what you think of it, and just kind of create that call to action. So that's all I have on Voisey. I just want to quickly, again, thank everyone for tuning in. This has been an amazing ride, and I'm excited to see what we're going to do in 2020. I'm praying and hoping that everyone is safe and blessed. Please tune in next week. We're here every Wednesday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can also see the replays for the next 24 hours, but also we're going to be airing these on IGTV. So every Wednesday, we're going to air the episode from the week before so you guys could have that. Please do me a favor, share this with someone. And also, if you can save it, you can do that as well. And if you have any questions about any of this, please hit my DM, shoot me any questions over there. I think that's all I have for you today, man. God bless you all. Talk to you soon.